welcome back to the Maya tool belt. So we're still working on our police light bar. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. Show you a render of it so far. And let's switch to our render cam. So here's what we got so far. Zoom in a little bit. And this looks pretty good, I think. I'm pretty happy with this. But I want to try and have it some more glow effect to it. So in order to achieve that, and like I said, I'm not a big renderer expert, but I think from what little research I've done, I'm going to try like adding in like an atmospheric effect. So hopefully it'll take our lights and stuff that we have here and kind of give them a more glowy look to them. So I'm going to the render settings, and this should be under Arnold Renderer. So render using Arnold Renderer, and let's just stop this for now. And let's go into the Arnold Renderer here. Here's our samples and stuff, and here we have environment. So let's open this up, and we have atmosphere. So I'm going to click on this little checkerboard, and let's create an AI atmosphere volume. So I do that. Now let's hit play, so we kind of see the result of this once we start using it. And I'm going to decrease my test resolution to be much smaller, just because I have a feeling this is going to increase our render times quite a lot. So my density is 0, so let's increase this up. Whoa, way too much. That's 0.1. Let's try 0.01. Enter. And let's see, so we're going to need to play with this. So 0.01 is still this kind of effect. But let's increase the anisotropy. Well, I like that. I'm not sure about this glowy orange stuff up here or whatever color that is, but this right here so far looks promising. As I decrease the attenuation or increase the attenuation, that seems to diminish. If I can go higher than 1. No, 1's the highest I can go. Attenuation color, taking that to black doesn't seem to change. So all this stuff up here, what I can probably do is mask this stuff out, maybe do like some kind of overlay with a black to white gradient or something to try and mask out all this stuff. So it's just black up here in my final render. I'm mainly wanting to see how it looks down here, so I'm going to click on this blue bar to kind of just render down here. Just want to see what this looks like. Don't want to spend a lot of rendering time on all this stuff up here. So just let that go for a little bit. So here's the result with it. So I'm going to click this button here to make a screenshot. There we go. And I'm going to take the density back to 0 so that it's essentially off. And then I'm going to compare. So without, this is without and with. Without, with. I think with it, I think it does add a bit to the glowy nature of the light a little bit by having that atmospheric effect included. So I think I'll keep this effect and I'll render this out. Now other than that, we are getting some speckling. You can see that speckling happening. So I'm going to increase the samples here. So samples here are at 5. So this is a volume effect. So what I might need to do is maybe increase my volume ray depth. I'm not sure if that'll actually do anything, but just in case, I'll go up to 2. And my camera samples I'll take up to like 6. And specular samples maybe kick up to 3, just to give specular one more notch on the samples, and then we'll let that go and compare. Okay, so that took a bit longer, about a minute. It's definitely a big difference now. I wonder if increasing the volume ray depth is what has changed this. I'll take another picture, and let's take this back to 1 just to see if that's the change that happened. I'll come back when it's done. So no, taking the volume ray depth back down to 1 did not seem to affect the darkness. I'm not sure why it got darker. So this is before. Maybe, okay, this one must have been without any of the atmosphere effect, and then this one does have it. That might be what it is. I do like this kind of beam effect we're getting from these yellow lights. I like that kind of fog effect we're getting. That's cool. I would like more from these. Not sure how we can go about that. Okay, in the light settings here, if I increase the lens radius up to 1, I've increased this square to, so now we're getting a bit more light up here. I'm going to change the color of the light to more of a red tint. Okay, so I've gone through and changed all the lights to have a red or blue color respectively, and I've increased all their lens radius up to 1. Typically they're at 0. And it does seem to give me more of this glowing effect up here in the atmosphere around the light, so I think that's going to work out pretty well. There, we can see it there. So whenever the lights are actually spinning, we should get some motion with that glowing effect also. That should work out too. So at this point, I think I'm going to call it done. So the next step would be to figure out the actual image resolution I need. So I'll go to my render settings and common, scroll down here, and we have image size. So right now I'm doing really small, and it's taken a minute or two, so I'm imagining it's going to have a pretty high render time. We'll have to let it go overnight or something, but I'll probably pick, it's going to be on a large screen projected up in a building, so maybe like a 720 or 1080, something like that. I might render it at 1080 and see how it goes overnight. But yeah. Oh no, now that I'm looking at it, no. Now that I'm looking at it here, the blue lights do still have that kind of white flare to them, while the red lights are very red. I'm hoping that's not an issue. Let's see. If I select the blue light, see, I got kind of a blue color to it, and light radius is up like it's supposed to be. It could also be argued for that the red light should have some more of a flare to it than like the blue one does. So I'll grab this red light. Maybe it's too like overly saturated red. Like if I were to lower this down. Okay, now we're getting more of a white highlight in here like the blue has. So maybe this was too red. So I can take these down a notch to be more of a red, but not too red. I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to render this probably overnight or something, and I'll add that to the end of this video. And more than likely, this might be the last one. The project might be essentially done at this point. So in the final, if I get a chance to, I'll try and, I don't know, maybe do a little phone, take my phone out and record the animation actually up on the screen, and post that here somewhere, like on the channel or on my Twitter account. And I'll let you know, kind of let you see how it actually looked at the end. That would be cool. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased. So I think I'm gonna call this done. Relatively short video. We mostly added the atmosphere effect, and we played with the light some to get this glow effect above the actual geometry, because before it was like this one. You can see the difference here. This is before we started adding those kind of effects. And then now we have this light kind of glowing and bleeding up into the darkness. So I think that's going to add to the effect, and should look good hopefully. When this render is done, took a minute and a half to do this section here, so that's not too bad. But it's also a 160 by 120 image, so pretty small resolution to take over a minute. That probably means it's going to be a long render time for the final, but that's okay. Like I said, overnight, and hopefully it'll get finished. So when I do kick it off, what I'm going to do is set up how big it should be, and then go to render sequence, and then it's going to render all these passes. So I have my emission pass. Oh, there we go. You can see that emission coming out there. Emission pass. I have my specular indirect, and then like the specular pass, I have the beauty pass, diffuse direct, indirect, and so on. So I can, if I have time, I don't know if I'll have time actually, but if I do have time, I can take all these different passes into that compositing program and kind of tweak them a little bit. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, this process, this relatively small project, creating this police light bar, getting the materials and the effects right, and get a little animation, and have something for a presentation. Thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you all later.